And if you get children at a very young age engaged with the art form, then hopefully lifelong they'll have some enjoyment of it. The third strand of work we added this past year, and that is our mid-scale work, which is going to sort of smaller theaters and areas where we haven't necessarily toured to, or we did tour to quite a few years ago, but for some reason or another it fell off the grid and we brought it back on. And the reason for this is to reach more audiences with our work, but also to start devising a sort of what I refer to as more of a chamber approach to the narrative work that we do. So last year I did an adaptation of Our Madame Butterfly, and this was partnered with Christopher Hampson's Perpetuum Mobile, and that was really different for the company to take out 2 works. And then this coming season we're going to be doing a new creation of Jane Eyre by Kathy Marston, and this will also be done looking at it in more of a chamber version. If you came on stage in some of our stages that we were performing, you will see that it is chamber. They are quite small, especially ones like Richmond that are beautiful, but they're really like a candy box. You sometimes hear that description of a theater. And we do quite a few performances, I think around 250 this year when we put in all the children's ballets. And we really do reach a wide variety and a diverse audience, and that is what our aim is. We also have our academy in this building, and that also has 3 strands of work. It has we're a center for advanced training, which means we have the intensive professional program. Then we have open classes that are available to all, and then we run an associate program on the weekends, which is for students who want to enhance their training by coming into this wonderful building and experiencing our approach. So we're busy. The company has 47 dancers this year in it. That has grown. When I first came, there were 34, and that's a wonderful thing. So we've actually gone from what was probably considered a smaller company to a mid-size, almost large company. And that's only been possible because of the building and because of the recent increase that we did receive in funding from the Arts Council. The company years ago was given an identity, a clear identity through Christopher Gable. And Christopher was really focused on bringing more theatrics, and drama is the word he liked to use, into the dance. And in his process, in many ways, I think he perhaps sidelined slightly the emphasis on dance to push forward this emphasis on the dancer as actor. And he also looked at the performances the company was doing, and he was adapting whatever the work was in a unique way to Northern Ballet, therefore creating this unique repertoire. Hired because I also have a keen interest in stories in dance or narrative work, and a keen interest in stories in dance or narrative work, and the company was happy with its identity and wanted to carry that on. Of course, as any director, I have my own ideas of what that is and what direction that would take. And so over the past 13 years especially, I have been the main choreographer for the company, and I was using my sort of formula in a way, which is how we work in class, how we take what we do in class and how we speak into the rehearsals, how we take that into the performance, and how the activities around it develop not only strong dance actors, but strong dancers. And I think that we have, I was talking today at another event, and we have a lot of unique things about Northern Ballet that other ballet companies don't have. And I think that's because we want very much to articulate the acting, the way in which we use our bodies as expressive tools on stage. And to do that, we can't just rely on ballet. I was telling them, when I was a dancer, your direction for acting were things like, can we have some general peasant movement, please? This is a sad scene. Can everyone go to the stage right around the dancers? And now move back. And very rarely did we actually have any dialogue about, in fact, when I was saying this to some of the dancers, they said, but what is a peasant? I mean, if you're going to do general peasant moves, what is a peasant? I'm not a peasant. I don't know what that is. And I was fortunate enough as a young dancer to have an incredible theater arts teacher, Beverly Miller. And She was also a ballet historian and a dancer as well, so she really loved this entire world of dance and theater. And she brought to it a passion that was infectious. And she said to me as a young dancer, I don't ever want to see you on stage and not be able to know what you're thinking. And you better make sure that you have done your research. Well, what is research? Well, of course, what an actor would do. An actor would prepare themselves. An actor would pre-read a play, for instance, if it was available, do research about that character, various interpretations, and start having some formulation for themselves. So I think at Northern Ballet, through all the different influences over the years, we have gathered some very useful tools. And we also have embraced things from the contemporary dance world. When you say to dancers, can we workshop? In the contemporary dance world, that's just standard. In fact, they spend a lot of time workshopping. In the ballet world, you can say that to dancers and they can look at you with blank faces. And when you ask them to be crazy, they're a little bit like, but how? What do you want me to do? Jonathan was telling me how wonderful it was. He was workshopping hate, the week of hate. He wanted to workshop it. And immediately, the dancers here were able to dive into that and come up with their ideas of what that would be and propose something to him. And you can only get that through a comfort level through doing these kinds of workshops. We also dialogue. We encourage the dancers to research, and we try to give them as much information as we can so that they also can participate in the collaboration of creation and development in their roles. In fact, over the last years, a lot of my work has been actually more focused on collaboration in the studio. When I was a young choreographer, I used to come with the work prepared and try and put it on the company. But as the years have gone by, and especially my time here with the wonderful dancers at Northern Ballet, I have been able to actually do much less and come in with ideas and directions and use them and their talents and their imaginations to take the work forward. So from that, we actually are known to have the best dance actors. I think we also have some of the best dancers as well, but I'm quite happy when people say that about us. And I do like to qualify it. I don't ever like to say that there aren't good dance actors in other companies. There are brilliant ones out there. But as a company, as an entire company, it's very important that we are engaged on stage as one, that when you look at any dancer on stage, they know why they're there and they're participating. And that may sound odd to you, but check out some quite classical ballet performances sometimes. Not the people dancing in the middle of the stage. Look on the periphery and see what's in their eyes. Are they seeing an Aurora getting married to her prince? Or are they thinking what's going to be on television when they get home later that night? And not because they're not in it, but maybe because they haven't quite been given the idea of why they're there at a wedding and what it is to be at a wedding. Even if you're standing there, of course, at all weddings we end up standing and watching, don't we? But we have a relationship to the person on stage. And once you start to understand those things and that you put those into it, the energy on the stage takes a different pattern. So as I said, over the last 13 years, I'm starting my 15th season now, I have been building up this repertoire and working with these dancers, and I really think I have an outstanding group of artists, from the more senior dancers who I've worked with some of them as long as, for instance, Martha Leebolt. I've worked with her since I came here 14 years. We're now 15 years together. And it's wonderful for me as a director to see these senior dancers I have in the company and their evolution from when they first came to the company and how they have grown and developed as artists. And now we have underneath that a batch of young talent, which is very different. Hopefully they are watching my senior dancers because it's the best way to learn, and it's where you really get, in our business, it's the passing on that is the tradition, and it's the most important thing. So we came to a point where we decided that, it's time to seek out other voices to bring to the company. Now that these dancers are so well informed and our identity is clear, how can we find new people to work with the company? And that might sound easy. In fact, it's quite difficult with a company like ours because you're looking for specific kinds of work. You're looking for work that fits into the puzzle here, fits into the fact that we do different adaptations, that we do storytelling, that we do want it to be clear, not completely abstract. And you're looking for somebody that is going to do something different. I'm always of the mind, if I can do it, then we might as well I'll do it. But if there's somebody better, then we need to go that direction. To that end, I had met Jonathan Watkins. Actually, when we first opened this building, he came around. And I think at that point, he was quite interested in working with the company. Just to give you some background on Jonathan, Jonathan was a graduate of the Royal Ballet School. In fact, he was a classmate of Tobias Batley, who you're going to see dance later. And Jonathan went on from the Royal Ballet School to become a dancer in the Royal Ballet. He did very well there. But right from a young age, choreography, I think, was his love. And he decided to do that full-time at quite an early age, actually, for a dancer. And so now he is a full-time choreographer. And he has created quite a bit of work. And he's interested in theater. If you look at the kinds of things he's done, he's not purely driven by the point tendu or the arabesque. He has a different kind of mindset of what he's after. So Jonathan and I spoke I think it's about 4 years ago now, and at the time, his idea was 1984. Now, we all know 1984, but we don't think of that as the next ballet we're going to go and see. Or a great night out at the ballet, 1984. They'll be singing and dancing. And so my first reaction at that time, and I felt that where we were as a company, we had not quite gone that far. And so I sort of said to him, well, I don't really think that this is a title that's going to work right now, but, I'm going to keep you in mind, and let's keep in touch. So a year or so went by, and I was aware of Jonathan and kept him in my head. And then we had made this decision that we wanted to have a new work for the Playhouse now. And we wanted to do with someone new and young and energized and with something very original to say of their own, and that would work with our company and build upon these wonderful dancers that we have. So I went to see a production at the Crucible in Sheffield. It was Kess, which was kind of a hybrid. It wasn't really a dance production, but it wasn't a play either. It was dance theater in many respects. And I was immediately struck, at the imagination that he had to make this work. B, the ability to actually tell a story, to clearly let us go from scene to scene and understand what was going on without words. And the other thing for me was a rather clever, and I think in many respects original way of engaging people together. That was something, the way he worked his scenes with the dancers that he had was different in many respects for me and fascinating. So I went away and I talked with Mark Skipper, our chief executive, and I said, if we want to do a new work and we want to do it with somebody, I think Jonathan's this person. I know he wants 1984. Immediately it was kind of like, can we get him onto another title? So I met Jonathan, and we talked, and yes, he wanted to do a work and really wanted to do 1984. And I said, well, could you look at a few other titles? So he was quite nice and said, okay. And a few weeks later, I said, so shall we meet? Shall we talk about these other titles? Well, actually, I really just want to do 1984. And obviously, one could interpret that as just being stubborn. But I think as an artistic director and as an artist, I interpret that as, this is what I'm passionate about. This is what I feel at this point in my life that I can bring to your company, that I want to express. And I think that that is absolutely key when you're wanting to do something that's special and different, and that when you want the work to come from some sort of fire inside. And he's clever. So I sort of said, oh, well, talk to Mark about that, our marketing department. And he sold them on it. He absolutely sold them on it. And here we are today in 2015, and we're going to do 1984 as a ballet. Isn't that exciting? I think it is. And so now I'm going to step down from my job here as artistic director and ask you to welcome Jonathan Watkins, our wonderful choreographer.
I've got this. Hi, everyone. Hello. Can you hear me? Yep. Good. Yeah, as David said, I was pretty adamant about doing 1984 because, to be honest, it to me just struck me as being so relevant, and in my head there's just so many qualities that lend themselves to a ballet. So when I read the book when I was 14 or 15, I was actually at the Royal Ballet School at the time, and I remember sort of reading it on the train, going from Doncaster down to London, reading it on the train, and in my sort of youth, a kind of naive reading of it for me was this kind of guy that's sort of finding a sort of individuality, but his a sort of path that's alternative to the system and alternative to this party. And I just believed that with dance and with kind of how we can show with dance the physicality of controlling a mass or group of people is something that you can really show without words, but also in terms of a narrative ballet, there's also this quite unconventional love story between Julia and Winston that sort of happens in secret, and that physical rebellion happens, they think, like out of the sort of eyes of the party. I'm not going to say too many spoilers because we're hoping that you're all going to come and see it for yourselves. But for me, it kind of made sense. And also, I feel that in terms of narrative ballet, we should be creating something that has resonance with the times in which we're living, and we only have to switch the TV on or look at the newspaper to sort of see the latest statistics about surveillance or how, you know, where all of our actions are being monitored. And so for me, that had a great sort of parametering setting for a production like this, and gave me a reason to want to create something and sort of give it a new life, this modern classic that everyone, even if you haven't read, that you sort of know some of the concepts within it. Room 101, Big Brother, all of those things. And so for me, that's what the passion was, and that's what the drive was. And obviously I've read it since I was 15, and I think someone said to me earlier that they've read it at different times in their life, and every time they've read it, they've believed that it's talking about now. And so you can always relate it to something that's going on in the world, and I think for me, that's a really important point, to be creating a work of art or a ballet or a production around. And I think that, yeah, that's a lot what I think. So I'm just going to give, it's obviously really difficult in terms of we're trying to give you a taster of some of the elements of the production, but obviously I'd just like to take this opportunity to say that a lot of it out of context, you're not going to kind of see the narrative line of it. So what we're going to be rehearsing at the moment is, it happens in Act 2, and every year they have an annual celebration called Hate Week, which the party sets out to provoke sort of physicality and hatred towards the enemy. And so this quite almost like a set dance piece that we're going to be looking at and exploring now, it sort of sets the tone for Act 2. And we have these hate week moments that happen that are interspliced with the narrative. And so they kind of add flavor and add that sort of energy and aggression to the time in which the story is happening. So the whole Hate Week happens in we sort of zoom in on Hate Week over 3 different days within Hate Week, and this is what we call Hate Week 2. Sorry, is this all right? Are you getting me? It's quite hot in these lights. Yes, so obviously it's quite dark and heavy and hate material, and so I'm quite a believer that you can be light and have sort of enjoyment within the process and create something that has substance and has that hatred. So yeah, the work that we're creating is is dark, but there's still room for a little bit of lightness in it, because that is what we're doing. This is the process, and it has to be like a communicative process. So there might be a few bits and bobs, but I'm not sure. Okay, so we're going to go to Hate 2. So this is Tony and, Antoinette, sorry. I call her Tony, she's called Antoinette. Joe and Antoinette, just show me this, because I want to make a little change here. So show me what you're doing first. So you're running on, and you go 1, 2, 3, kick 4, 5, and 6. Yeah, so I think what's not reading for me is, this, it's quite, it stops. So I'm thinking that maybe we go 1, 2, 3, kick 4, 5, and it just sort of pulls back more, like, so we get that aggression into it, rather than it's So from there, I'm replacing this with a more like a swipe, wah, da, da. You can make that, do you want to make that noise so it helps you? Choose your noise. What's your room 101? 1, 2, 3, kick 4, 5, da, da, da. Yeah, because otherwise this was a bit stagnant and it sort of stops itself. So just show me that. Do you want noise? Yeah, they want noise. Ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, kick 4, 5, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, 7, stop. Good. So, the noises might make it in. They won't. So this was good. I liked that better. Did it feel better? Yeah. Because it just has that aggression to it. Now we need to add the same feeling to the next bit. So what was that? So, yeah, so because this is a little bit, looks a bit like opening the door, but I think, Joe, what did you do there? Yeah, so it's like more elbow down, really punch down, elbow down, throw it, yeah. So it's like elbow down, bah, cha. To be careful. Okay, so do that, and 1, cha, ra, da, wa, ba, ba, sha, ba, da. Good. So that makes it alive already, like we're being controlled, and that's the aggression of it. Does that feel a bit better? Yeah, it does. Okay, so guys coming on, I think punch down with it, yeah? Down, ba, ba. Show me the 7, 8. 5, 6, 7, and that's it. So then from there it goes da, da. Then from there, and 1, 2. So where are we looking? So I think, yeah, but can we like really get that back into it? Wah, down, wah, yeah, and then ba, ba, yeah. So, yeah. This is where people looking on think we're crazy, but we're not. So it's, go ready, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, and 4, reach, da, da. I think that vocal would help us there. Because this is like, like that. Mickey, what's your noise? Yes! Show me this. Is this 5, 6? What count? 7, 8, 1, and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ha, ha. Yeah, so what did we say about this? This is animalistic, yeah? So, that's Abby animalistic. Abby is this the alternate position to Hannah. So she was there that day. So it was 1, da, da, cha. So it's down, you keep down. And Tony, can you do like, it's more that, I think it's more that, right?
I keep going to that naturally. But
I'd rather that than, because this doesn't have as much as that. Yeah, that's it. So you really get, that's it. And you're going to go back on your right? Right. Okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, push 4, 5, and 6, and 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, and 4, down, da, da, da. So what's this? So from there, So this is kind of this is like the sort of sign of Big Brother and the party with the triangle, and it sort of I'll talk in a minute. It echoes the design. The party is a triangle, so it's almost like this is our version of like a salute to the party. So we go it's the arms into this. Wah, cha, cha, cha. So it goes up, it rips down, down, up, up, up. So I need it rip, and I need, yeah. So let's do from the rip. What's this count? So 1, 2, 3, and 4. Da, da, dee, da. Rock, 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 pull down. Da, chaka, ja, da. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7, 8. Stop. Stop. And I counted that a bit too fast. Yeah, you did it, though. They did it, though, didn't they? Control. Big Brother. So that was good, though. So go from here, push there. I'll count it slower. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7, 8, and 1, 2. Stop there. 3 and 4. Good. So, Teresa, this is 1. We slightly get late, but you did it then, but I'm just a little bit, just so I get the on 1. So they all punctuate, and there's all like full stops in it, yeah? Girls across the front, Tony and Vicky, you know this kick? Yeah. It feels a bit like da-da-dum, ba-da-dum, you know. So can you just push that for me? What can we do? I think it needs to just be like more of a kick. That's it. So you really get into it. It's that physicality of it. 8, 1, but don't kick her, Vicky.
I have to go behind her anyway.
Okay. So what are you going to do? 1, ha, da, cha, ba, ba, ra, ra, da, da. Yeah, and then from there, rather than like move, I think we need to like it's elbow, elbow, and elbow, elbow, wah, cha. That is better. Wah, cha, wah. Kick it and throw it and bop it and twist it. Yeah. Wah. Do you know what I mean? Do you get me?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Happy with that? Should we go on? Yeah. So guys, don't do the wall move in this. Yeah. Ready? 5, 6, and 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5 and 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5 and 6 and 7, 8. Push 1, 2, 3, 4, ra ra. 2, 3, 4, and walk. Good. So Teresa and Kira, is it what count is this? 1, 1 and 2, is it, girls? 1 and 2. Just slightly late there. Yeah. Yeah. And guys who move the wall, just so we know, the brakes are off now, so you don't need to do that. So you can just move them. Yeah. So guys, what happens is from this height 2, the wall opens up and we transfer into O'Brien's flat. So you'll hear in the design, all of these walls that you see, they're all part of the choreography, so they open up and we reveal the next scene. And so it sort of has that kind of blend. You'll see when they do it. So show me the girls out from here, the kick, we go up. 1, 2, 3, is that and 4?
Yes, it is now, isn't it?
So ready? 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3. So we're not in the same place. So we've done this, we've done the kick, and we've gone face to face with the guys. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5, 6, 7. So stop. So what are we doing with the arms? So from there. 1, 2, 3, and then and 4. So it's like right, left, and then step back. 5, look at it. 6, throw it. 7, back. 8. Then go on. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2. 3, 4. Push. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ra, ra, da. Dee, da, ra, ra. Okay, good. So, what's this on, Teresa? 6. It's 6, isn't it? 6. Yeah. So it's 6. So it should be, is this 1? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8. 1 and 2. Yeah. I think around this side it might have been Kira as well. 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. Okay, good. So let's have a little go at that, yeah? With all of that in. Don't do the vocal noises, but be doing them in your head. Thanks. Where did I put that water? O'Brien's flat. Okay, good. Good, guys. Can we reset on that? Were you feeling the hate or not? Do you think they could do a bit more? I think Vicky got the gold, the hate gold. Vicky gets the hate gold. There might actually be medals, really. I know that's not in the book, but there could have been medals, couldn't there? Hate medals. I'd like to, are we all right for time? Okay, I'd like to do that. We'll do it one more time, but there was moments in it that we let the ball go, that we suddenly become like, we're not hating anymore. Tony. I think it needs to go. Oh, I nearly broke my teeth then. It needs to like face to face. So Giuliano, in with me, Tony. Like it needs to go like that. See how we make the noise and it works. Do it for us, Tony. Make the noise if needs be. You can do this. Ready? Yeah, see, I know it. Ah. That's what acting's about. So yeah, I think you can see it, like making that noise and having that in your head affects the way that you deliver it. And you can do that in the wings if you want. So, guys on at the beginning, that seemed better, yeah. And this was good, da cha. Show me back, kick out. So 5, 6, 7, 8, go back. This kicks. So I think what we're doing, I like the military, but then that needs to, can we afford to just kick that, but downstage of the people that are that way? What does that look like? 5, 6? 5, 6, 7, 8. Ha! That's it. Wah. Then here, then this, remember that this can't look like that. It has to look, that's great, but it needs to look. I make crazy noises. But it helps, I think. So show me the kick around. 5, 6, 7, 8, kick. That's better, guys. Wah-ka-ka-ka-wah. Yeah, that's it. So from there, that was good, because I get that impetus up, but then I need to claw it down. So I get that light and shade of claw. Yeah, and then this is then pull down. Yeah, down, up, down, and then and push. Yeah. Yeah, Vicky. I like push it away to whip it and go up into the next bit. So it's like down, yeah. So then all of this stuff is good, crazy stuff. Guys, do they feel any different, those walls now? Yeah, lighter. Good. And then girls were all right with and 4? Yeah. Okay, good. Let's have one more go at it. Anger level 5. Choose that person that you hate. And do it. That was so much better. You really took it up that level. Hannah, you know when you just do that lift, can you accent something that goes, that you lift and that you hit out at the end, just so I don't see her?
Yeah, we don't see you.
So just, Joe will lift you, and then, can I see that? So, that's it, just so it's like, accent, yeah. I think that's enough hate for one night. And go and listen to some nice music now. Happy thoughts. Can you set those walls back for me? And thanks, everyone. Thanks so much. Thank you, guys. So that's a little bit of hate for you. Then I just thought it'd be good, I'd like to just share with you a few of the slides of the model box, which is the design of the whole production. But you can see some of the elements that we have to work with in the studio already, which has been really handy because it's quite a logistical puzzle to sort of know like where the walls are coming in and where they rest. And these guys are absolutely incredible about like teamwork and sort of working that out with the whole team. And I just think they're amazing, really, about that. It's honestly, because I've worked. It really, because I've wanted to do this for, am I still on? I've wanted to do this for so long, and I think it just feels so right to be doing it with this group of dancers. They're like just bringing such commitment and like intensity to the rehearsals, and you know, they're used to working from text, and it just means so much, and I really believe that this is the right place to be doing it, so I'm really thankful to them for that. And back. Go to the eyes. Brilliant. I just thought I'd speak about my collaborators a little bit, not too much, but I did Kes last year at Sheffield Crucible, and I worked with a composer called Alex Baranowski, and he wrote the score for that for me, and we worked so well together in terms of like, not that he just produces great music, but you have to have a really open and trusting dialogue with collaborators, and I believe very much in that you have to have an exchange and a backwards and forwards, and you have to be able to say, you know, no, this isn't really how I'm thinking about it, or how that sound world, and him also saying, no, I really believe it is this. And so we have that engaging relationship, and I thought when this project came about, I thought of no one else really, because he understands the kind of almost cinematic narrative blend that I really have ambition for this piece, and his music, it has great possibilities to go quite romantic and lyrical and melodic, but then also quite dynamic, and I call it beatful. It's not a word, but it's quite beatful and like percussive, and there's quite a lot of modern influences which we wanted for this piece to sort of root it in the now. I'm not thinking that it's set in 1984. I'm thinking that for me, 1984 is a date, but it's more of a concept, really. And so I wanted the production to be of itself and be almost like timeless, so we can have this kind of framework for telling this story, this parable, and that we can reflect on it and not sort of think, oh, that's a certain time frame. And so in terms of the design, you have this kind of very clinical look, really, with the walls. And I'm just going to take you through the first few scenes. So Act 1 starts in the Prole area, which is an area of this city where the people that live there, the party deems sort of uneducated and not threatening, so they don't put them under the same sort of surveillance scrutiny as the rest of the party. So it's kind of, in the production, it's more like the movement is much more grounded and like sort of organic and freer, whereas the people that move within the party and the surveillance is much more regimented. So that's how I see it, that's really static, but then Winston, who's going on this emotive journey throughout, he sort of rattles between both of them, and he's trying to sort of connect with the hope is within the proles. And so if you go to the first slide, this is the junk shop where Winston buys his diary, and that's really, for me, the beginning of the end, and that's why I wanted to start the production with the prologue in the junk shop. And he buys this diary, which isn't illegal, but it's highly punishable. And it's where he buys this blank book in order to write down his thoughts, and really that is the beginning of the end for him. So I wanted to start the production in this way. And then we skip, if you skip the second scene, obviously the telescreens is a massive concept within the book, and Orwell describes them as two-way mirrors. And so I wanted especially after that prologue to just sort of really bang into this very like active telescreen world where all the inhabitants of the party are like seen and they're told what to do from this screen, but they're also like seen from the other side. And so this is what I call the world of 1984, and sort of set it up like I'm seeing into different people's houses or domains. And then as we set the kind of landscape of 1984, we zoom into Winston's flat, which is the next slide. And so this wall turns around, one of these walls, and we like zoom into his story and his life. And so this is the first scene where he gets the diary out of his hiding place, and this alcove here is set up. In the book, it's unseen from the telescreen, but you start questioning, like, why is it unseen? Is it a setup from the beginning? But it's got a nice ambiguity to it. And this is where he starts his emotional journey of like writing in the diary and sort of going counter and anti to the thoughts of the party. And then from here, this pushes back and we set up the work routine. So in the ministry, if you just go to the next one, that's it up close. In the ministry, it's in the book, it's Winston's job to change information from past records and archives. And so we're obviously relying on this, but there's also a video element to this that as part of this process, you're going to see in the production that like things are going to be erased and changed. And so if you just go back one, we were inspired by these massive LED screens that you see in Tiananmen Square in Beijing. And so this acts as like almost in a traditional sense like a sort of a backdrop to the scene, but then also we rely on it for very specific narrative points, i.e. like his work, how he deletes, how his work includes like deleting people from documents or changing information to like within that process. And so I think that's the only slides we've got. So you sort of get a flavor of what the kind of production works like. And in terms of costume, actually the designer is a guy called Simon Dorr who's done the costumes and the set. And he designed one of my first main stage at the Opera House as one, and we worked together on that. And he designed a piece I did in Russia and one of the films that I've also done. So I really just like his like artistic sensitivity really, and is a great collaborator also. And so if you could go to the costumes one. So we wanted, obviously this is a dance production, so we wanted to kind of take the blue overalls that it says about in the book and sort of give our version of it. So they have this is like the kind of outdoor uniform that's very stark, and this is Julia and Winston, but also everyone else in the party is dressed similarly. This is Julia in Act 2, when they rent this flat that they think's a safe haven for them, and she gets a dress from somewhere and puts it on for him. And so this is the moment in Act 2 that we have the pink dress there. This is O'Brien's party suit. Also, the proles that I spoke about, that we kind of go into the underworld of the proles and Winston sort of wandering through. We wanted to get a very different look. So if you go to the next slide. So, sorry, the next one. Yeah, so it kind of has it's very counter to the uniform, and it's a very distressed, in the book it's very, like the proles are kind of have like dust and, dirt on them, and so this kind of gives a very like grounded and almost like sepia tone to the whole of the proles. And it's a great device, because then when Winston's wandering through them in his uniform, we kind of get that contrast. In terms of video, I'm working with a guy called Andre Ouspensky, that's a dancer. Andre Goulding. And I've worked together on a few plays that I've done with him. And obviously the video element is quite a big thing, so we've had to storyboard that. But also it's really my thoughts that I don't want that video element to detract from like the live action on stage, so it's about balancing that out really, like theatrically. Okay, so yeah, that's a little bit about it. I'm working with Chris Davey on lighting design, who's done a lot of dance before. He's done a lot of work with Matthew Bourne, and also he lit a piece that I did in Russia as well, so we've worked together. And also to say I'm working with a great, amazing lady called Ruth Little, who's a dramaturg, and we worked together on Kes, and we found that really, really a great relationship, so I invited her to work with me on this. So she sort of has, in the rehearsals, she has an eye out for you know, how the audience will see it, how like, because obviously my head is so within the creative process that it's hard to get distance, so she's there really to sort of cast that eye, not judgmentally, but to cast an eye to sort of work through the dramaturgy, the drama, or the narrative action of the scene. So she's a great help within the rehearsal process. So, and I think that's the team. Have I left? No? I think that's it. Yeah, so just coming to finish off, I thought I'd like to share with you, through Act 1, Julia and Winston, their sort of relationship becomes closer and closer, but it's only until the end of Act 1 where they arrange to meet in the countryside, and it's really where their physical relationship takes off, and the sort of physical rebellion of putting their love, their sort of physical desires and love for each other above the party is seen as an act of rebellion. And so this is an excerpt that we've been working on. It is very much in rehearsal at the moment, and so I'd like to leave you with this taster, and hopefully you'll see it within the context of the show when you hopefully come and see it. So thanks so much for coming, and this is just Julia and Winston at the end of Act 1, and they've escaped to the countryside, and they think there's no surveillance or nothing's watching them, so they can behave in a way that they want to, and not in the presence of the all-seeing eyes of Big Brother. Thanks so much.